All right, so we're talking about May's Whiskey Hall. This is the Derby season, the Derby time of year for all of us here locally. And I'm just going to say, it was a little bit of a tricky year.
Yeah.
But with a little hard work, a lot of really awesome luck, we did all right.
True. Welcome back to another edition of Bourbon Kingdom. I'm David.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're going to talk about our whiskey haul.
So it's our favorite.
We're going to do it a little different today, too.
True.
Mostly because Zach had a bajillion bottles, and we had to do this a little differently.
It was Derby, and I didn't want to sleep, and I regretted not sleeping during
I don't know that you did sleep much.
I really didn't.
I know. Every time. And here's the deal. I would be like, what are you doing? And he's like, somewhere trying to find a bottle, somewhere trying to, like...
This Derby season was very tricky. All right, so let's back up. For anybody who's new, for anybody who doesn't know, so Derby is like that time of year for us locally.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of our Super Bowl week. Like, it's a lot of guessing. It's a lot of lining up in hopes of things. It's a lot of, should you go to this distillery? Should you go to this liquor store? Do you think this manager will do something?
It's a lot of me texting Zach and going, where are you going to be?
It's a lot of me texting Dave, hey, since you're just going to randomly drive around, where are you going to be at so I can follow you, so that way I can just so happen to run into a GTS or Thomas H. Handy.
Yeah, true.
Anyways, with all that being said, Derby's not like how it used to be. Derby time for us in Bourbon here locally in the Kentucky area, it used to be awesome. Distilleries really got into it.
Yeah. Local
liquor stores got into it. Some of the mom and pop liquor stores would do big drops. It was super cool, a lot of fun. And whatever is on Dave's watch, I hope it's that good. But out of all seriousness, it's changed a whole lot. Really only 2 distilleries showed up. I talk about it in my little section that I recorded before Dave got here. But I want to give a shout out to Makers and Mitchers. I don't want to ruin anything, but they did an awesome job.
The 2 M's really did a good job.
They really did.
Yeah. And for me, I did not experience either one of those.
I don't know why you didn't go down to Makers.
It just, it was just never convenient for me to go.
You live 20 minutes away.
No, it's more like 45 minutes for me.
It is not 40.
It is 40.
It is 20 to 25 minutes away from Heaven Hill.
Once you get, I know, but I'm 20 minutes from Heaven Hill.
Yeah.
And so it's 20 minutes to Heaven Hill, then it's another 20 minutes into the country where you can't see anything.
No, maybe 30 at most. He is not wrong, though, about you can't see anything.
And you feel like you hear banjos and you hear all kinds of stuff going on.
You're pretty
scared.
far out.
Yeah, you start. If you've ever been to,
but once you get to Makers, it's absolutely gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
And then really very few liquor stores did anything.
Yeah,
Total Wine didn't put anything out. There's a couple liquor barns that did okay.
Yeah,
and they put out a couple things.
Evergreen is the one that did pretty good.
Really, Cox's Evergreen, they were the ones that really
really did. They were like, hey, listen, Derby, we're going to give you all the good experience.
Yeah, so a lot of credit to them.
Yeah,
for really doing a great job. So, but like what we talked about in the beginning, Dave and I, we're going to do ours separate. So
we're going to do them separate because Zach literally had like 30 bottles. So I did not have that many, but you'll get to see mine here in a minute. All right, so for my whiskey haul, mine is going to be a little bit shorter than Zach. Zach will be the lion's share of the time on this one, which is okay because this is like his second job, and he treats it such. He does. I don't even know what is in his whiskey haul, but I can only imagine there's an M10 in there, probably like some sort of like King of Kentucky, some sort of who knows what's completely in there, but it's going to be some good stuff because he does the work to make that happen. So, but for me, we're going to start with this Wild Turkey. I honestly haven't bought these too much, the single barrels, these Kentucky Spirits, but been hearing about them doing these CN in the CN Rick House and stuff, and they've been talking about these, and so these are the same things that they put in Russell Reserve, Single Rick House, and all that good stuff. And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try this, and I may even talk Zach into doing like a blind for this, like do a wild turkey blind of these from the CN Rick House and all that good stuff, just to see kind of what these are like. So I bought this just because I saw that this one is a CN, I think E. And so if you know anything about the Single Rick Houses, the Russell's Reserve, there's a CNF, which was that the new? I think that was the newest one. But anyway, I bought this, so I was excited about getting that, just because it was a C. Anyway, my next one, actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. So at the same time I got the Wild Turkey single barrel, they had released a bunch of allocated stuff, and they had some Buffalo Trace and some stuff like that. And whenever I go to a store and they have allocated stuff sitting out, and it's stuff that would be shelfer stuff for me, or things that are general things that I can share with other people, I will usually pick it up. And so I picked up a Special Reserve. This is always good. You can mix it, you can give it to your friends who've never had Weller before, you can do all those kinds of things. And so I picked this up as part of my Wild Turkey pickup. The other thing, and this was actually for Zach and I both, but since Zach had 30 bottles, he threw me a bone. This is the Bardstown Amrut, and we reviewed this already. Good stuff. If you can pick this up, which it seems to be available in a lot of places, do yourself a favor, pick this up, because it is really good, along with most of the other Bardstown stuff. My next one is a Hancock Reserve Liquor Barn pick. To be honest with you, I picked this up because I do love the little bag that it comes in. You know, sue me. I like this little bag. And honestly, the Hancock Reserve is really pretty decent. It's a low proof, which is okay. Like, this is 88.9 proof. But it's generally easy drinking. And again, when I open this, I'm going to open this at a party that I have here soon. Actually, I'm going on a golf trip, so I may take this on a golf trip with me and just open it and hope that people kind of kill this bottle, because it's non-offensive, it's really easy drinking, and when you're golfing, you need the easy stuff anyway, and 88.9% is a good golf course day drinking bourbon. So I'm going to take this with me, and we'll have a good time with it. The next on my list is, we'll just do this one. This is an E.H. Taylor single barrel. I picked this up. I actually was going in looking for, can't remember what, I think I was looking for the Breckenridge, because I needed the Breckenridge for a something else. And because I needed a Breckenridge, I picked this up. They were getting ready to put it out, and he was walking out with like 5 of them in his hand, and I was like, hey, you're getting ready to put that out? And he was like, yep. And I was like, well, lucky me. And so I grabbed that. This was at a Liquor Barn. And so it's an E.H. Taylor single barrel. If you know what it is, you know what it is. Good stuff. And the next one on the list is a Blanton's straight from the barrel. Got this, and always excited to get this. And so I picked this up. I'm really excited to have it. Actually, here's the truth. I am sending this to my cousin, who this is on their unicorn list, and they really wanted it, and so I was able to pick it up for them. But because I did buy it, I put it in my whiskey haul, and this will be going to Florida here soon for my cousin in his collection. And then my last one on the list is the OGTS, the George T. Stagg. Was able to snag one of these and really excited that I was able to snag it. And you can see that it's halfway gone. I took it to a bottle share because what's good bourbon for other than being able to share it with the people that you like? And so I was able to do that. Really excited that I was able to get this, and totally stoked. Again, that's my list. That is my 6 or 7, 8 bottles that I got. Some really good ones in there. Some kind of just normal things as well. So
we'll go ahead and start, and I'm going to start with a bunch of bottles we're going to review. So I just kind of want to line them up really quick. So these 5 we will be having reviews out shortly, or have already put out reviews. I think the 13th Colony and the Peerless will definitely be out, and then I don't know where between the Knob Creek, Jim Beam, and Foregate will all be out. So we definitely have opinions about them, but I kind of want to hold off on talking too much about them beforehand. So yeah, we'll just we'll kind of skip that. But I just want to talk about really quick. Overall, some really good bottles in here. One, maybe that's not my favorite, but you'll see in the reviews. All right, next ones. Let's go ahead and knock out these 3 little guys. So these are the 117 series. These are the Scotch finish and the new High Angel Share Batch 3. So these have kind of, honestly, in the state of Kentucky, I feel like if you have remotely been trying to hunt for whiskey, you've stumbled into these. There's a lot of stores that had them, Liquor Barns, Cox's, I think some different Krogers even had them. There was just a lot of opportunity for these. This is just, between the Scotch and in the High Angel Share Batch 3. So we've done reviews on the Scotch. Scotch was actually a lot better than what I kind of thought, to be honest with you guys. But with the High Angel Share Batch 3, we have done the review. I don't think we've dropped it yet. I do look forward to dropping that, have some interesting thoughts on it. Overall, I just love that these are actually hitting stores. All right, next one. All right, so this is the O. Weller Tandem. This is a Weller Full Proof and then an antique pick. The Weller Full Proof came from a Cox's store. I don't know if I snagged one out in the Prospect one or somewhere out there. And then the OWA actually came from Merle's. So Merle's Whiskey Kitchen, which is right down, like literally catty corner from the Center, or right across the street from Old Forester. They have great little bar set up. They do hot chicken that is phenomenal. Have a really fun atmosphere. Highly recommend them. Occasionally they will put out that they're gonna drop an OWA, and it's always a pick. So luckily being so close, it's kind of easy for me to get down there and get one as long as I'm not working, and just so happen to be that way. So it's just crazy to me that out of all the places that I've gotten OWA picks over the last couple of years, I think Merle's is probably the number 1, which is crazy for a restaurant more than like a liquor store, for example. But they just seem to have a lot. Like I think they even have a new one. So be looking for that. Next one. This would be a Stagg. So this came from, I believe, the Cox's store over in Middletown. They did a little game on one of the random days, and you had to go find like one of the Derby horses. And this was the best thing that was available. So they did that like early in the morning, and I just so happened as I'm trying to make the rounds and just trying to look at different stores, they just so happen to have it, and this was the best bottle left. So you guys know me. I'm always a big fan of the Stagg. This is, just to be clear, it's 23C. This is a really good one, so I'm really excited about this one. It's even one of the lower proof ones, 125.9. So, but you guys know me and Stagg. Never gonna turn that down. Next one. little Elmer T. Lee action. So this is actually one of the few bottles I got from Liquor Barn over this past month. This came from, it was one of those, I think it was actually Derby Day. And I'm trying to figure out where to go and line up. And honestly, I thought most places were done. So I just picked kind of a random Liquor Barn. They just so happened to have, they had a couple bottles. They had a couple of these, a couple of straight from the barrel Blantons. I think some of the Mitchers barrel strength ryes. I think that was it. So, but this was over at Springhurst. Just, again, it was one of those things, you line up super early, you gamble, you don't know if it's going to hit or not. And yeah, I mean, there was actually better spots. I know, you know, my buddy, he went over to another random store and they had handies and some other stuff and he was able to grab one. I think he showed up at open too, so good for him. All right, next one. And this is something I want to hear your all's opinion about. Also, if you guys haven't already, hit that like, subscribe, notifications button. That really does a lot to help us. And, you know, Dave's goal is to hit 20K this year. So we're like right on the cusp of that by the end of the year. So it'd really be a huge help and we'd really appreciate it if you guys helped. And it's free. Helps us out a lot. So this is the Eau Charter, and this is the Eau Charter Oak, and this is the French Oak. So I've had some questions asked about these. These are from Buffalo Trace. You know, what's crazy is to me is, I'm trying to think. I can't remember how many they're on. I don't know if they're on like 6 or 7 of these. But I remember the very first one they ever released. I walked by it in a Liquor Barn and I didn't even think twice about it. And now they trade for like a crazy haul, which is wild. But I just didn't think anything about it. I didn't know it's from Buffalo Trace. I think most people don't know it's from Buffalo Trace. There's nothing to kind of indicate it. It's not something that gets put out a whole lot. But anyways, my question is to you guys, would you all be interested in us doing a review on it? So please, if you guys have any thoughts or if you guys would be interested in something like this, we can kind of go into the details of kind of like what the whole thing is with the Eau Charter Oak series and stuff like that. So just, yeah, let us know in the comments below. All right, next two. These have just recently started getting released. These are the Mitchers Barrel Strength Bourbons. Now, if you guys know me, big fan of Mitchers, obviously huge fan of the M10s. I really like the Mitchers Barrel Strength Bourbons. I know some people kind of think they're a little underwhelming because they're just lower proof. I don't think that really hurts them. I just think it's just different expectations. Kind of like Four Roses. Like, Four Roses aren't crazy high in proof, but they're just different. And I appreciate that. So these have hit stores. These have hit bundles. I think I got one of these from a bundle. And then I can't remember if I got one of these from a Total Wine or a Cox's, to be honest with you guys. At this moment in time, I'm thinking about those. I don't really remember. I think a Cox's, but I could be wrong. But anyways, you guys know if you guys get it from a bundle down at Mitchers, that it's going to be put with something like an American whiskey or a bourbon or something like that. Maybe occasionally a rye, but most of the time they save the ryes for the other rye bundles. But yeah, also the other important thing about these, I believe these are supposed to be only Kentucky again. I know last year they were only Kentucky. I've heard rumors. I haven't confirmed it. I need to ask somebody down there at Mitchers just next time I'm randomly in there. But I know last year they were Kentucky exclusive. I believe these are also Kentucky exclusive again this year. But once I hear something, I'll let y'all know. All right. Next two. So we've already done the review for this one. This is the M10. This is a 24B barrel, and then this is a 23F barrel. I got the, let's see, where did I get this one from? I believe I got this one from the distillery. And then the 24B barrel, I believe I got this from a Total Wine, if I recall. No. Yeah, I got this from, no. Now I'm forgetting where I got it from. Where did I get this thing from? It's just that funny moment where I can't remember where I got it from. I think I got it from Total Wine, but I'm starting to have a little brain fog here. But anyways, going back to this, we have reviewed this. We've talked about maybe doing a blind between this year's B and last year's, whichever one I have back there open. Let us know in the comments below if you guys would like to hear it. I think both of them are excellent. I think both of them have crazy profiles that I love. I think it just kind of depends on what you like. I think last year's had more char and oak. I think this year's is a little bit more fruit. If you were comparing it similar to maybe a Brown Foreman kind of profile, you'd say last year's is more King-like. This year's is more like Old Forester-like. If you were comparing it to other distilleries per se. Both of them are excellent. Both of them are great. Definitely no complaints out of this. By the way, I just tried some of the A barrel from this year. It's good. Tastes the exact same as the B barrel this year. Don't go crazy after chasing A barrels anymore. Throw this one down here. Next one. This is a Four Roses LE 135th. So this one did come from a Total Wine. So what Total Wine did later in the month, they decided to do a grain reserve release where they sent out an email. So if you're a grain reserve member, they do basically an exclusive release for them. I am one of them. You kind of had to get one of those or become one of those to get part of these releases anymore, because last year I missed. I was like, well, I don't want to let that happen again. So a couple bottles that we reviewed, I bought from there. But they did one at the Paddocks, which is over on the east end of Louisville, and then they did one over at St. Matthews. So I got over there. I was probably, I think I was fifth in line. I was either fifth or sixth. I can't remember. No, I was sixth. Crazy story. So the Total Wine had one King Kentucky 18 year. Obviously, I knew I wasn't going to get it. This guy was camping in front. This guy was muling for somebody. Legitimately, he was camping for somebody else. He had no clue about anything about bourbon. Because the guy told him on the email, hey, the best thing there should be probably an E.H. Taylor barrel proof. Grab that. So that dude who had no clue what he was doing, number one person in line, who was muling for somebody else, he straight up went and bought the E.H. Taylor barrel proof. And then the guy who was two got the King Kentucky 18 year. Very happy for that guy. The guys who were basically 2 through 5, great guys, great people, super cool. We chatted from the time I got there. They camped much longer than me. And we didn't really know that they would have 18s. We knew St. Matthews would, and people got there a day early. But yeah, it was overall, it was a really good experience. We had a lot of fun. I was very tired because that week was a very tiring kind of week. But overall, great experience. Very happy with it. And I'm happy that I was able to get another one of these. This was one of my favorite bourbons all of last year. So anytime I can get one of these, I'm always going to be happy. All right, next one on the list. Maker's Mark Cellar's Age. So talking about a distillery that should get a ton of credit for what they did during Derby. Maker's Mark, every single day, at some point in time, put out Maker's Mark Cellar's Age. And they put out a lot. I know guys who drove from Louisville. I know guys who drove from Cincinnati. I know a lot of guys who went down there to get a bottle. I was able to convince my wife. It was I don't know if it was Sunday or Saturday, whichever day it was. I was like, hey, you want to go down to Maker's Mark? We'll do a little family trip, have a day down there. And we did. The boy was loving it. He was sitting there jumping and skipping the whole way down. It was such a great time. But was able to snag some of these. These have been a little sneaky difficult for us to get in this area. So the fact that Maker sat there and put them out and did basically every single day, they had a ton of bottles. I don't know what the count is. But overall, they did have a lot. And a lot of credit goes to Maker's Mark because, this was during Derby week. And this is whenever all eyes are in Kentucky. You have a ton of people in from the state. And it's crazy to me that really no distilleries did anything. Heaven Hill put out select stock. if you're in one of the groups of what does Heaven Hill have, you've all seen the comedic relief. I had friends come in from Michigan. They literally went down there and camped it every day. And, you know, that's tough. You know, don't get me wrong, some of those select stocks are great. Not all of those select stocks that went out are great, to be fair. So, you know, whenever you have the new Old Fits 13 release, a lot of people were hoping for that and just not one day of it. So that's a little disappointing. Give a shout out to Mitchers as well. They did their big bundles where it's, you know, you get a bourbon bundle, it's 3 bottles, the barrel strength, the basic, and then the 10-year. Same thing with the Rise. You know, Mitchers always does a good job. They're always going to do those big bundles on important things in local. But really, outside of them two, that was it. All right, next one is a Willet Lion Share. Actually, I snagged this one from a local Kroger. It was of Derby Week. I was able to grab it from. So this was kind of like a little like bonus treat that they just had them. Normally Kroger likes to do kind of a small release on Saturdays for Derby Week, and this year they just didn't have any, or if they did, I didn't hear about it. But I was able to grab this one. This is just for all you Willet people who love to hear all this stuff. This is barrel number 5952. It's 134.6 proof. It's 10 years old. And yes, it is their own stuff, nothing sourced. So I always hope for that source stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the nice thing about Kroger is the price is always going to be right. I mean, it's very rare that you're ever going to get anything from Kroger and it's going to be expensive. So we appreciate that. Now we're kind of leading to some of the, I don't want to say bigger bottles, but some, you know, some very exciting stuff that we were able to snag over this last month. All right, so these are 2 different President's Choices. One came from a tour. They did a President's Choice tasting. I believe it is, yes, it's barrel 43. It's a little younger. It's 7 years old. But we were able to do a tasting with it with the 2019 birthday. I don't know if it was a 117 that we had. No, we had 100 proof. I think we had 100 proof on our tour. And then single barrel, and then just like standard like 100 proof orange label. What's crazy is on that tasting, like that 2019 birthday, man, it is so good. Why Old Forester doesn't put something like that out every single year for birthday? It would crush. It is so awesome. It is so amazing. And it kind of took me back. I was like, man, that's what they need more of. Honestly, they need more of something like 2019, because that was great. And then this one is a barrel 47. This is a 12-year. This thing is really good, sneaky good. I just had a buddy of mine had one open, and I met him, and I was able to snag a pour from him. It's really good. These ultra age kind of PCs, I won't say ultra age, but these older PCs are just something really special and really, really great. This was one of these situations where I was driving to work and I had some time to kill. I just stopped in there, which I try to stop in there whenever I have extra time, especially whenever I'm on nights, because I was on nights. And it was hilarious because I was walking in and these 2 guys are sprinting over there Old Forester. I'm like, they got anything? They're like, President's Choice. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Again, it's just one of those things. You just have to be available. I tell this to people all the time. You know, when it comes to Old Forester, they are very random. There's nothing really rigged by it or anything else. So you just got to get lucky. And, you know, I've missed more than what I've hit down there, but been very, very fortunate and very, very lucky. So, all right, next one. These have been dropping in our area more. I was very fortunate. I was able to get 2. So during Derby Week, I camped. I guess I camped, I don't know, like 3 times and 4 times maybe. Well, okay. Let me backtrack. I camped at 2 different Coxes. One of them was at Hubbard's Lane, and they did a release where they had this, they had a GTS, they had, I think, like a Thomas H. Handy, they had a Lot B. They had some other stuff. It was really, really nice. Because really they were like the first like big camp out, if I'm being fair. And, you know, I was very fortunate and I was able to snag one. And, you know, I've been worried because Heaven Hill hasn't really been dropping anything crazy here lately. And then I didn't get into the event. And I was like, man, I'd love to get another one. Because this thing, we've almost drank the 18. I've shared it, taken some bottle shares. So I was like, man, it'd be really awesome to be able to get another one of these. So I was very fortunate there at Hubbard's. And then I went to another big one at Middletown and camping that, like, it was crazy because it was just another big drop. And the crazy experience is I'm like 7th in line. And whenever I walk up, everybody has different bottles in their hands, like GTS's, King, stuff like that. And I'm kind of stepping back, and nobody had claimed an M20 that was sitting there. And I was like, why is nobody taking the M20? Like, what am I missing here? And I won't lie, a big part of me just wanted to go up there and snag it. But I knew some of the people up there, a lot of good people. There are a couple good people who I knew was in front of me. So I was like, there's no way I'm not going to say something to them and be like, hey, even though you have a bottle in your hand and you haven't set it down yet to snag this, like, you know. So it worked out. But I was able to grab another Heaven Hill 18 at that release. So overall, it just really worked out really well. Really happy with it. And yeah, it was just one of those, like, the camping, honestly, this derby really paid off. I know people don't like hearing that. I know people, you know, there are some people who love camping. There's other people that don't. You know, I didn't camp for a long time. It was a couple hours here, a couple hours there, and it just worked out. There's been other times where I've camped overnight, and the best thing I've gotten is a Blanton's. It was just, you know, fortunately, this time it worked out. Last one, and favorite of bottles. This is barrel 11. It came from Rickhouse 70, location 1, and this is a 10 of 79. Again, this was one of these that, you know, different random coxes had them at different times. It wasn't even one of those campouts. It was one of those kind of like you randomly walk into a store. Depending on the store, sometimes they put them out in the evening, sometimes they put them out at night, sometimes they put them out in the middle of the day. And it was just one of those. You just had to drive around, and if you get lucky, you get lucky. So was very fortunate. Again, very, very happy because now I have another 16 year to take up. We have 2 bottle shares we're going to this year. Well, I say 2. We have one for Pours in the Park, and then we have another one with KBF that I think Dave and I are going to go to. So it'll be nice to be able to take this and be able to crack it open and have a bottle share, because, you know, we always love to be able to take good bottles to take. So anyways, that was pretty much our derby. Again, super expensive, but man, I'm just super grateful for all of it. You know, overall, it's one of those, whenever people ask about derby, if it's worth it or not, yeah, some of it is like, you got to put in some work, and you got to camp, and you got to be available. The other part is you got to put in the work just to drive around and just guess. Like, you're trying to do educational guessing. If this store would get anything, if this store would get anything, if this store would even put something out, you know, and it's just constantly driving around. And I was working night shift that week, so it was a very exhausting week. But anyways, so yeah, that wraps up Whiskey Hall for the month. So go ahead and put in the comments below what you got, and you know, if there was a couple of these you'd like to see reviewed, please let us know. And until next time, we'll see you.